We will be marking the anniversary of 9/11 4 days from now. Radical Islamic terrorism remaining a deadly threat to our nation. For someone who knows a lot about this, joins us now Dan Hoffman, former CIA station chief who served in Pakistan and Russia, and also a Fox News contributor. Dan, your thoughts? This young man is 20 years old and wanted to allegedly incite a mass killing of Jews in New York City.
Well, this was an extraordinary intelligence success where there was a threat that was detected to a soft target in Brooklyn, and the FBI, in close coordination with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, were able to not only detect the threat, but then preempt it before any harm was caused. The concern that I would have is that there are other threats out there, and this is a job for the FBI on our soil and overseas. It's not going to get any easier. That's the concern that I would have, Eric.
Yeah, do we know what type of connections there are? Because we've gone from the organizations Abu Nidal, Al-Qaeda, to now what, potential lone wolves or people on the internet who can potentially, assemble a mass shooting, assassination, terrorist attack. Do you see that? What should authorities look at when they're going through the background and connections of this 20-year-old?
Well, I think we'll learn a lot more, certainly once he's extradited to the United States and maybe we see a formal indictment. We may learn more about the tip that the FBI received to start this investigation. Did this individual have a network inside Canada? Was he in touch with ISIS in, for example, Afghanistan, where there's a sizable ISIS presence? That certainly is possible. Did he travel back to Pakistan or even to Afghanistan? We don't know the answers to these questions, but they'll be helpful to us. And then also important, what sort of a network did he have in Canada on whom he might have relied for financing, perhaps for weapons or explosives? Did he have other intentions besides simply conducting an attack in New York City? Did he also seek to launch attacks in Canada? So I think there are a lot of unanswered questions here, and it'll be useful for us to follow up, certainly starting with February 13th when he appears in court.
Yeah, certainly.
September 13th.
Yeah, and certainly they'll learn more and a lot about that. He apparently wanted to get smuggled into the U.S., and that's from the northern border. And we got all the attention of the southern border, but take a look at these stats. More terrorist suspects captured trying to come into America from Canada on our northern border. Take a look at this. 289 in fiscal year 2024. Southern border, just 43. 6 times more. Fiscal year 2023, 484 on the northern border versus 80 on the southern border. Should we put more facilities and resources into the northern border? Because it seems that the terrorists and suspected terrorists know you can get in easier if you come down from the north.
Yeah, well, so remember the Millennium attack that we foiled back in 2000. That was also from the northern border. Some of those statistics reflect the fact that we are effective on the northern border. We detect more attempts by terrorists to infiltrate the United States from Canada. We need to do a lot more to shore up both the southern and the northern border. But let's remember, those are the points of attack, and that's a little too close for comfort for me. The problem is that ISIS remains in Afghanistan at large and effective and growing. Remember that they launched the Crocus City Mall attack in Moscow. They launched an attack in Iran, and they tried to target the Taylor Swift concert in Austria. They certainly have us in their crosshairs here in the United States, and they enjoy the same sort of open field running in Afghanistan that Al-Qaeda enjoyed and still enjoys before 9/11.
Yeah, it's been out there. Here's a story in 1996 that I reported here on Fox News. Terror big nabbed at U.S. border. That was a suspected Abu Nidal, coming in from Canada. Finally, Dan, you have experience in Pakistan. What is it with Pakistan? Ramzi Youssef, who was the architect of the Bojinka plot to blow up airliners and the first bombing of the World Trade Center in 1993. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, caught in Pakistan. What are the unique factors potentially that go into, are there any, of Pakistan that can create this?
And Osama bin Laden was hiding in Pakistan. Look, this is a problem that we face, Pakistan and Afghanistan together, where you've got a sizable number of terrorists and a sizable number of people who can be recruited to become terrorists. And we've never been able to solve the root of the problem. The Pakistanis haven't been able to do it. They, too, have suffered from terrorism directed against their government and their military and their intelligence services. It's just an ongoing problem. But, Eric, it's why we need to be in those places to detect those threats way, way out left of boom before any harm is caused to our homeland. And that's why I'm concerned that we have no presence in Afghanistan right now.
9/11, next Wednesday, 2 days later, just the latest, this suspect in court. Former Station Chief Dan Hoffman. Dan, thank you for your service to our nation and, of course, for your insight today.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.